Trey Lance is on this team still, and it's really strange because it doesn't seem like anyone ever. It doesn't seem like anyone would actually take credit for the trading effort for him at this point. Like everyone at the organization would be like, "Yeah, I don't know who did that, but he's here, and we really like the person he is." Um, man, do you think he should request a trade? Do you think it's clear that he has no future here, and he should say, "You know what? In all due respect, I'd like to leave."
I think it's clear he has no future here, and I think he's justified to request a trade. With that said, what does that signal to other teams that he's signaling a trade? It's like, look, man, you're coming off a pretty significant injury. We don't know about you. You still haven't played. And now you have a chance to actually showcase yourself, whether you're the guy or not, or whether you're just a placeholder for Brock Purdy for a while. Why are you asking to trade from now? And again, like you can say, like, I get it. It looks like it's bleak that you're the guy for the future now. Maybe the Niners like messed up and like, whatever the case may be. I think I can understand the trade from his perspective. Wouldn't give him any gripe for it. But think about it for like other teams. It's like you're doing this now, man. It'd be different if like you had a good season, or like it would be different if he actually started the games he played and the Jimmy games, was playing decent, whatever, then broke his foot, and then Brock took over. If Brock did that and the Niners still said, okay, we're going with Brock now, that would be shady. And then I would be like, okay, Trey Lance is a whole case to make. It's like, wow, you guys did this. You really just spat on me just like that? Really? After I played like those 10 games or whatever, whatever week that Jimmy got hurt in? So I think with Trey, that'd be like the message you're kind of sending to other teams. I mean, there'll probably still be a couple interested, like, But also the way, like, it's like, man, you're kind of calling it quits or not even trying to try or like give something, knowing that your value is pretty much at a peak low right now. That's just the way I would see how other teams would interpret his trade request.
Yeah, I don't think the media would be kind to Trey Lance if he requested.
Oh, hell no, not them. No,
they already call him a bust and make fun of him, and then if he requested a trade, it's like who are you? He's kind of in the Jordan Love. I don't think he can do it, which is too bad because he's kind of being held hostage right now. And I keep going back to, why is he on this team? How did he get here? Remember, the Niners said they traded up for a spot. They never said that they knew who they wanted when they traded up to number 3. They said they wanted to evaluate. And then it came down, Kyle Shanahan said it came down to Mac Jones and Trey Lance. And a lot of people were reporting at the time that it was going to be Mac Jones. And if you remember, Niner fans were really upset about that.
Hell yeah.
I mean, really upset. And it was like, so this was 2020. I mean, this was like, George Floyd was just going on. I'm trying to remember that. This was 2021. 2020. Anyway, the racial stuff was big. And if you remember, like, it was not just don't take Mac Jones. It's like, man, Kyle, you're a racist if you take Mac Jones. There was a lot of that. And I think ultimately the organization gave the fans what they wanted. The fans wanted Trey Lance. And I think Kyle, maybe Jed was like, dude, Kyle, if you take Mac Jones, you know what the response is going to be from your own fan base. Is there anyone else you like almost as much as Mac? And he's like, yeah, I like Trey too. And they're like, well, can we work with Trey? And he's like, yeah, of course. I don't want to be looked at as a racist. I'm not a racist. I like Trey too. But I feel like there was a lot of like, let's just give the fans what they want here, which may explain why the Niners never really had a ton of conviction in that pick. Not that Mac Jones was the right pick. God.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hits.
I'm just saying. Saying.
I wouldn't touch on that. I think this is a case of the scenario where, and it ties into Kyle not being at the scouting combine. I think this ties into a situation where they picked the person over the player. Because honestly, to me, when this was all going on, I was like, Trey Lance is not an option for the 49ers. Like, literally, like the early predictions for me, like in January, because the Niners have been out of the playoffs, and it's clear that they needed a quarterback. So there was plenty of options. And to me, I never thought Trey Lance would be the person, considering how inexperienced he is. So I think this is where it takes over about, like, they met him, I think multiple occasions, correct? And then it just, you fall in love with the player. That's what the person. And that's what John Lynch alluded to, right? Yesterday at his press conference. It's like, oh, the guy he is, like everything. And I think he says he loves him more as a person even now, the way he's handling the situation, which, after Super Bowl week, right? The way he's like, I welcome the competition. I know it's not my right. That's the person they wanted. The person who's just humble, who's just hungry, who's just like, I know what it is. Just go get it. Let's go get it and work. That's a coach's player right there. That's a brilliant type of prototypical one. So to me, it's like with Kyle Shanahan not being at scouting combine, he's not going to be there like generating like relationships with these players. He's not going to get to know them for that like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, how long. And he can be like, I want this guy in the third round. Undermining his scouts when they've been doing the work all week, all year and such like that. So I think that's probably how you got like players like, like how Rand Carthen talked about, this is how we got Elijah Mitchell. It was like scouting and analytics. It doesn't sound like that was so much a Kyle move that he dug into. So I think this is more so a thing of we fell in love with the person so much that we overlooked other things.
Yeah, but I mean, they say they fell in love with the person. He's very mature, but you don't draft a person that high just because of who they are. I mean, they really thought.
Not just because, no. But that's what they also wanted to hold on to Kirk Cousins, right? Kyle Shanahan, at least. It's like, dude, Kirk's not that great of a quarterback, but you love this guy that much?
Right, but I mean, the thing is, they've never really acted like they love Trey. When they made the move up and took him, they're like, wow, like, I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm optimistic because Kyle must really have conviction in this. I mean, to give all this up, like, Kyle must feel like on his team, under his direction, this guy's going to be Patrick Mahomes. But ever since they've taken him, they've never expressed that confidence ever again. They waffled. They brought back Jimmy Garoppolo. They sat him for a year. They kept Jimmy Garoppolo again. And it almost feels like, man, because when they drafted Kaepernick in round 2, the way that Harbaugh embraced him and puffed his chest as like, this is the best athlete in the league. Always talked about it. This is a plutonium grade, great athlete. The Niners never talked about that way about Trey. It's always like, man, why are you here? And now that Brock Purdy's here, it's like, man, you're the ultimate afterthought. Thank you so much. We don't need you anymore. We got our guy. No one's going to be mad at us if we move on. Good luck, Trey, is how it feels. It was just so unfair. He didn't want to come here. He could have gone anywhere else. And it's funny, if the Niners hadn't taken him with the 3rd pick, where would he have gotten drafted? He might have fallen to 12. No one knows.
I think it's reported kind of that Atlanta would have taken him, which that would have worked with Arthur Smith, I think, better. He would have thrived in Atlanta, I think. Yeah. Dome, a guy who actually knows how to like utilize his quarterback with real running option plays.
He would have been allowed to play.
It would have been, dude.
He would have been allowed to play.
Atlanta would have been sweet.
Atlanta would have been good.
Weak division.
Also, not to get too political, but that's a market that would have embraced him from the beginning. Kind of like Philly with Jalen Hurts.
They would have been singing the praises of as the second coming of Michael Vick, even though he's like 80,000 times slower than Michael Vick. Trey Lance is. He's not that great of a runner.
You know what I'm concerned about? What's his speed going to be like when he comes back from this? We're talking about Brock. We're talking about Brock. What's his arm strength going to be? What's Trey Lance's speed going to be like this?
What's his head going to be like when running the ball? Like, are the Niners still going to do that? I mean, I don't know if you read or heard a little bit, but when Abu Breer, I think this past Monday or last Monday, about like the Niners, like, yeah, the Niners kind of like realized like, his running ability isn't as great as we thought it would be. And it's like, yeah, no doubt. We kind of saw that in the Arizona game, and it got confirmed again, like plenty of games after the couple games after that. Like, he's just not someone you want to run more than a few times a game like that. It's more something like you got to shoot him like almost like a Magnum pistol. Like you only have like 6 opportunities max to really fire those true runs with him off, because that's pretty much what you're going to hope is going to be somewhat chunk gains.
I mean, I'm in favor of running a quarterback if he can run and he's effective, but I feel like it's all about the element of surprise though. When the Niners ran Trey, it was like early and often. It was like, whoa,
it's like
that's not how you do it. Like, he's a decoy at first, and then when defenses finally let their guard down, like, oh, he's not running today. Boom, then you hit him for a first down on 3rd and 5 or a touchdown in the red zone. Not, hey, let's establish the run with our quarterback today. No, that is not how Philly does it. That's not how they do it. And that's how, again, Kyle has had some success with RG3, but he got him hurt in like a season. You got to do a little bit better of mixing it up, using the element of surprise, misdirection, all that, man. That's the way I look at it. I feel like Kyle, with these running quarterbacks, he's like, all right, if I got to do it, it's how it's got to be. And he's like, oh, he got hurt? Well, that's football. It's like, nah, man, not really. You could do better.
That's what I think is the funniest. It's like, oh, we're gonna run him because he can't pass right now, and it's like, well, he's not a great runner either. So are we pretty much sticking the less of the two evils? One of them could, in theory, derail your game in terms of him throwing the pick, right? But isn't that why you have a great defense and all these other pieces to really like kind of like circumvent or at least slow down the type of point where you get those losses in the game versus you run him? It's pretty much run him, risk injury. Have him throw pass heavy, risk him throwing turnovers. If that's really his
but again, like when you watch Philly, what they do is they establish all their running backs first, and then they use Jalen Hurts on like a 3rd and 4. When everyone's expecting a pass, they'll have like a quarterback counter. I mean, they're not like just plunging in between the tackles on 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 8 and saying like, hey, get us into 3rd and manageable. Like, that is not how they use Jalen Hurts, and that's what the Niners did with with Trey Lance in multiple starts, which makes me feel like, dude, do you even want to coach this guy? Or are you sort of like, inviting the inevitable here? I don't know.